I really like it a lot. And then with so what I've been, oh, forgot it was open. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, my name is Griselda. In today's video, I am going to be doing a in-depth tutorial on my updated foundation routine. It has been a minute since I've filmed an updated foundation routine, 2.5 years to be exact. So I did want to do an updated foundation routine. A lot of things have changed. My skin has changed. Products that I used to use before don't work for me now. So I wanted to just update you guys, tell you guys why I love these products, because I want you guys to love them for those same reasons. So if you want to see my updated foundation routine, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to turn on your notifications so you get notified every single time I upload. And without further ado, let's get started with this video. I brought you guys in a little closer because I want you guys to see exactly how these products perform on my skin. I'm going to go in with my Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. This is one of my all-time favorite, if not my favorite primer, because it just almost gives you like a filter, like an instant filter on the skin. I just love how I don't feel it. It doesn't clog my pores. Anything that is attached to the skincare line that is great, just like Tatcha, I feel like is going to be great for your skin. So the consistency is pretty creamy. It's not thick. It almost feels like a moisturizer in a sense. It almost has like an airy finish. So what I like to do is I like to apply it and kind of press it into my skin. I don't like to rub it, and I'm focusing in the areas that I have my imperfections. I have the largest pores. Instantly gives you a matte finish. I usually just like to focus it in these areas because that's usually where I get the most oily. Moving on to the next step, I like to use the OleHenriksen. This is the Banana Bright Eye Cream. I really love using this underneath my eye makeup because I feel like there's like an instant brightness, especially when I haven't slept and I look like death. This gives me like a really nice, like, I'm awake look, and you guys will see right now it has like a little yellow undertone which helps with the brightness. And I like to apply it and kind of press it in. I rub it in first, but very gently, because your under eye is like the most sensitive part of the face, so you want to just dab it in. And I don't know if you can see, it instantly gives you like a really nice brightness underneath the eye. So I really like to work those products into my skin just so my skin can absorb them. Moving on to foundation. So I did want to tell you guys my skin type because I think that's also really important. I am normal to oily skin. So I'm normal pretty much everywhere except for my T-zone. I tend to get pretty oily around those areas, especially if I don't use the proper products underneath my foundation, and if I use the wrong foundation, I'm just like a complete grease ball. I've been using this foundation since the day it came out. I have fallen in love with this foundation, not only because of the formula, I just love how it sits on my skin. I've worn it out in the heat. It does not break down. I've worn it out at events, taken pictures with flash. It doesn't give you flashback, which is so important. The foundation I'm talking about is the Bounce Foundation by Beauty Blender. This has been my go-to foundation for pretty much everything, and I like to apply this with my Beauty Blender. The thing that I really like about this foundation is so easy to travel with. So I do travel with this often. It does have a secure lock on the back, so that's one thing that I absolutely love, and I love how I don't have to use my hand anymore. You can just pump it out and it just lands on the container. I use the shade 3.75. It is a medium to full coverage. Sometimes I don't want to do a full coverage foundation, especially like during the day, but I know that I have that option of being full coverage if I really wanted to. I would recommend to use this foundation with any oil if you are more on the drier side, just because it does give you a matte finish. And the most important thing I think about your foundation is priming your skin, making sure that your skin is just well prepped, because if you don't put moisturizer on or any type of primer, your foundation is just not gonna sit the way you want it to throughout the whole day. And you guys know my biggest struggle just overall every single day, the morning, evening, afternoon, whatever, is the amount of sweat that happens around this area. This foundation just doesn't separate when that does happen. I know obviously we're not in summer anymore, but I did wear it around summertime and my foundation stayed intact. That was confirmation for me that this was going to be a good foundation. Okay, moving on to concealer. You guys know I've been loving this Jouer concealer. This is the Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer by Jouer. I love the fact that it's full coverage. It is creaseless. It doesn't crease. I love how smooth it leaves your under eyes. And I also love it as a base with my eyeshadow because I just love how it does the same thing that it does under your eyes. It just leaves you a really nice and smooth surface on your eyelids that it just makes the eyeshadow just glide on like butter. We're gonna be using the shade Honey. What I like to do with this concealer, and sometimes I forget that this concealer dries down pretty fast, I'll apply it on both sides, but I need to remember that it does dry down pretty fast. So what I like to do is I like to apply it on one side first, and I love the applicator too. So then I like just to go in with my beauty blender and just kind of press it all in. I'm not putting too much pressure on the beauty blender because I don't want the concealer to be picked up too much. You guys see, it just gives me like a super smooth surface. And this concealer is another reason why I don't have to use another concealer underneath to color correct, because it is so thick and it's so full coverage that it just, what pigmentation, it literally covers everything. And just move on to the forehead, the bridge of the nose, and then just like the chin area. This process sometimes gives me like an all over color because they're so light. You guys will see how it just all comes together when I contour and set everything else. So now that we've got the highlight and foundation all set, I'm gonna move on to the contour part. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Erase Dark Circles. This is in the shade Hazelnut. To be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge fan of cream contours just because I feel like it's too much work, and I just can't deal with any of that. This concealer definitely is really easy to blend out. I can apply it all over and it doesn't dry, so it kind of gives you room to just blend everything really smoothly. We're just gonna apply that where you would normally contour, which is obviously around the perimeter of the face. And I love the applicator. The only place that I do not apply the concealer is my nose area because I do have a smaller nose, so I want more control, and the only way that I can do that is by using a powder. So I'm just gonna pick up this NYX 105 brush and just blend that out. I really love this brush for that. Just blends everything really smooth. And this concealer doesn't leave my skin patchy, because sometimes I have used concealers or contour products that once I start buffing it out, you can see the separation, and this concealer doesn't do that. And moving on to the forehead, I always like to make sure that I get it in my hairline. So then I'll go back in with my beauty blender and just kind of blend everything together. I feel like that's key when you are doing your skin. You gotta make sure that you just blend everything out. So moving on to baking, I really have been loving the Easy Bake Loose Powder by Huda Beauty. I have two shades here that I jump back and forth from. I usually use Blondie a lot, which I love because it's like a yellow undertone, but the concealer is a yellow undertone. So what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use Pound Cake to kind of brighten a little bit under the eyes. So we're just gonna press that powder in, and I put a generous amount. And you just want to do the same step, usually where you applied your highlight, and then just kind of press it into the forehead. This is the area where I apply a generous amount of powder because that's usually where I tend to sweat a lot. So I just let it sit there for a few minutes and then dust it off. While this sits on my skin, what I like to do next is I like to set the rest of my face. And for that, I love using the Soft Velvet Loose Powder by NARS. This is in the color Mountain. I just love using a fluffy brush. So it really doesn't matter what type of brush you use, as long as it's fluffy enough where it just distributes the powder all over the face, then you're good. I'll use something like this, which is really fluffy. This one is the Morphe E41 brush. And then I also like to use like a large powder brush. This one is by Sigma. So we're gonna use the Morphe E41 brush. So I do this and then just kind of apply it into the brush. Just as I'm applying the powder onto the skin, it's releasing the product throughout the whole face. What I like to do is I like to press it in. Once you've set the foundation by pressing in the powder, I go in buffing it in, and I do it that way because sometimes when you buff in the powder into the foundation may still be wet. So you want to make sure that you press it in by setting it and then buffing it out so it doesn't move. So now that I've set it, I can go in and just kind of buff everything. So what I like to do to set my contour is I like to use this Beach Bronzer by Urban Decay in the color Bronzed. And I like to use that same brush that I use to blend out the contour. And I like to press it in and then buff it out. So you're gonna do the same process where you contoured the rest of your face. I'm gonna go ahead and use that same bronzer, and I'm gonna be using this Luxie 182 contour brush. This is actually in collab with JD Wadey 180. This is such a good brush to contour your nose. We're just gonna pick that up and just snatch your nose. And I like to have like a nice button nose, so I like to just do a line right across, and it gives you like an effect of like a button nose. I like to pick up a little bit of that pound cake with a brush and just kind of press it right on the bridge of the nose, like that. And then with my E41 brush, what I like to do is I like to just buff all of that out. And this area is a little tricky, so I like to pinch the brush and then just dust everything off. So next, to give me a little bit more definition with my face and just give it a little bit more structure, so what I like to do is I like to use Blondie. Just go right underneath my cheekbone and just bring that powder and let that sit for a few seconds. This is just going to give you a really like slim look. It's like your cheeks are sucked in like you haven't eaten days, and that's the look that I'm going for because I've had like 3 burritos in the last week and I need to stop eating. Once we've done that, what I like to do is I like to just dust it off. Before we move on to anything else, what I always like to do is I like to apply a generous amount of Fix Plus. Even though I am more on the oily side, this is a hydration spray. So the reason why I like to use this is just to kind of bring a little bit moisture back into my skin, since I have used a lot of powders. This is just going to bring your skin a little bit back to life. So we're just gonna put a generous amount of this. When I say generous, don't be shocked because it's generous. So that's how I like to describe this step. Just bringing your skin back to life. The powders are always going to just help make your foundation last a lot longer because it's setting it. It's making it not move. Applying a little bit of the Fix Plus is just going to hydrate and give you that healthy, nice finish to the skin, but it's not going to make your skin look oily. Once I'm done letting it sit and letting it dry, now we're gonna apply a little bit of blush. This is the Melt Cali Dream. It is a peach undertone. It just looks great on olive skin. It's very like everyday, a peachy look, and I just like to apply it right at the apple of the cheeks and just kind of bring it back a little bit just to give me a little color. So next we have the fun part. I feel like I have been using this religiously. I've been talking about it on my Insta story, on my Instagram, on my Snapchat. I have been obsessed with not only the brand, but the formula and the owner, because he's a really good friend of mine. So you guys know Angel, also known as Mac Daddy, has launched his new highlighter collection, and it is the Diamond Luxe Luminizers that looks like this. They're just absolutely just to die for. The formula, how they perform. When I do highlighters, I always have to like do Extra Fix Plus because they're not as intense. This you can literally just glide on your skin and it just leaves your skin looking like a glazed donut. And we know we love glazed donuts. So the shade I've been using a lot lately is Sexposé. It's like even dirty, sorry. One of my biggest pet peeves is showing dirty product. It is the shade Sexposé. And I just want to swatch it. I'm just gonna show you guys how intense that is. And I'm gonna show you guys on my hand. See? Let's let that focus. Come on. And it is just so beautiful. Like the color is just gorgeous. It just goes great with my skin and I've been obsessed. So I thought, why not talk about a highlighter that can be used for every day. And this is one of those highlighters where you can use every day, but if you want that little oomph, you can definitely get that oomph. And I'm going to be using the Artist Couture 03 brush. Mind you, like I said before, I always have to Fix Plus my face before I do any type of highlighter because it's not as intense. But you guys will see, this is a clean brush. No tiene nada. Está limpio. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that. And look at that. And I'm barely touching my skin. Barely touching my skin. I can leave it like this, you know, because it's like an everyday highlight, or you can intensify it and just do like, here I am, glazed donut, just came right off the oven. You can do that too, you know, but we're not gonna do that today. We're just gonna give you a little something because we're doing the everyday. And then we're just gonna pick up a little bit of that with my finger and just kind of put it at the bridge of the nose. And I also do have a discount code with Artist Couture, so I will link that in the description box below if you guys want to use that. So I went ahead and I finished the rest of my face. Now that I am all done, I used to never do this because I was like, a setting spray it's useless, to be honest with you, but I have seen a huge difference ever since I started using a setting spray. So I'm gonna be spraying myself with the cherry scented all-nighter spray. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of the actual scent of the original, but I do like the cherry scented one. So we're gonna just set our face with this. All right, everyone, so this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I really hope this video was helpful and understanding why I like to use these products. Literally, these have been my holy grail for quite some time now, so I just thought I'd share these with you guys because sometimes it's really hard to find something that you can stick to, and once you do find it, it's like you never want to let it go. So that's how I feel about these products. This foundation in particular, I just think that it works well with my skin type, my skin tone, and what I'm looking for in a foundation. So I think once you do find that in every single product, you guys will understand exactly what I mean. I'm here to just help you guys understand why these products work for me and why I love them so much. This video is not sponsored by any means, so I just want you guys to know these are my holy grail products that I just kind of gravitate to when I'm not experimenting with other products. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in my next video.